Hey! You already know what's coming. Yeah, no, you don't. Is there anything behind me? We are going to have the all right. We are going to have the square table fireside chat today, very soon. But before that, we have a game. Okay, and the game, I'm going to explain it to you. So you need to check the underside of your seats. You might find no, don't check yet, don't check yet, don't check yet. Okay. You'll have the opportunity. If nobody's sitting next to you, you can check that as well. That's cheating, but still. Okay, so you might find two things. Don't check it yet, don't check it yet. No cheating there. All right, you might find two things under your chair. You might find this, which is a slip of paper from 2 years ago. And that doesn't mean anything, I'm sorry. Okay, and you might find this, which is a golden ticket. And that ticket means we invite you free of charge to next year's recruiTECH CEE. Thank you for coming. So now check the other It's hard. One ticket's there. We have one. Awesome. Okay, not easy. Yeah. There are two tickets, actually. So one is already won. Oh, the second one is there. Thank you very much. Please go to the reception after the event and take your prize there. And now I would like to, after bringing your attention back to the event from the underside of your chair, all right? So I'd like to thank a couple of people today. And the first one to thank is you, guys. Girls, thank you for coming. You are a wonderful audience. Thank you. Very, very nice. And the second one to thank is our sponsors. And thank you for sponsoring our event. And thank you for making this happen, this event possible at all. So thank you for the sponsors. Please give a round of applause to them. And I would definitely like to encourage everybody to go and check out our sponsors, talk to them, chat with them, even without anything what would be consequential. Just have a little chat with them today or tomorrow. Well, not today, maybe at the wine bar, but tomorrow at the event. And I'm a very selfish guy. Yeah, my ex-wife knows this, but one of my best friends is here today, and I would like to invite him on the stage and thank him for organizing this great event. He's the founder of recruiTECH CEE. Please welcome Gábor Toldi.
Hi. Thank you, Daniel. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. I also would thank you for two things. One of them is that we have amazing speakers who invest a lot of time to prepare content. And please let me know that it was any valuable content today? Yes. Oh, it was so... all right. I hope you can learn something new and something valuable. But parallel, I think for all of the speakers, I share this mission, what we have. And I think recruiTECH CEE is not just the event. We are not a simple event organizer. We are enthusiastic TA professionals, all of my team. And we truly believe that there is a good reason why we should come in and create a talent acquisition community in the CEE region. I think we have similar labor market issues. We are dealing with unemployment ratios, migrant workers. Also, we lose our people who are moving to the Western countries. We are in the same situation economically, or mostly, Hungary especially behind you. But anyway, the main point that we have a lot of common interest in many ways. And I truly believe there is a lot of practitioners who are professional who in the talent acquisition field is working in this field. And then the last 15 years, I'm always traveling to the West for conferences to learn from others. and I'm pretty sure there are more stories to tell here in this room. I truly believe that we have enough best practices, enough failures, and story to tell from each other to create our own community, to learn from each other. And this is our mission, and this is our vision. And once again, thank you very much for coming. And one more thing to my team who are working in the last 1 year to do this. So thank you so much for you and for them as well.
And now to the square table. The moderator of our square table is going to be Tony de Graaf, who's international thought leader in talent acquisition and the author of Recruitment Excellence Methodology. And previously, he was working for big companies, but he jumped ship and answered the calling of the entrepreneurial route. Some people do. And he's going to moderate the discussion. One of the participants is going to be Bogdan Badea, who was the rock star of candidate data today, absolutely stunning. And then, obviously, the oldest person surfing this recruitment wave for more than 30 years in the industry, Kevin Wheeler, and he's been ahead of the wave. I don't know whether you're a surfer or not, but it's very hard to stay on the wave for 30 years. So please welcome 3 gentlemen on the stage for this lovely conversation.
Thank you. Does the microphone work? I hope it does. Very good. So we have a surfer who rides the wave. We have a rock star. And I jumped ship, so that makes me a trader. It's a good introduction, right? I am happy to be here. Gabor asked me to moderate the conversation between these 2 gents last week. I wrote an entire introduction, but I threw it all out of the window based on what I've heard here today. So I wrote something new, because I don't know how it is with you guys, but for me, change is the name of the game, right? And there is something different about this change for me for 2 reasons. One, we are not the ones that need to make the change happen, and that was maybe true for the last decade, but we need to manage the change because it's happening to us. And second, I think that the wave of the change of AI that we saw coming, that wave is larger and larger and larger. So it's massively big. It's not just changing something for the business, the change is also affecting our own jobs while we're managing the change. I think that's different. And then my question was, are we ready? Are we able? Right? It makes me nervous, seriously. You gave me a really good example. You asked me something, right? What is the biggest change that happened in your life? I directly answered him and said, becoming a father 2.5 years ago on our rows. So how did you feel? Scary, overwhelmed, under-equipped. Have you ever tried changing a diaper on a 1-day-old baby? And he says, you're still here. So you managed. Like that really hit me hard. Like we go through a lot of big changes in life, and as scary, as overwhelming as it can feel, it will manage. That's also human nature. So that calmed me down a little bit. So thank you for that example. Calmed me down so much that I thought I'll share it with you, and I'll just use that as the introduction. But yeah, let's get into it, because there are a few topics that I want to talk to you guys about. But you work at the job boards. You said something about the resume and applying, etc. So I want to start there, right? The death of the resume. We're already talking about it for over a decade, but I think we're finally getting there. So I don't want to have a discussion or it will be dead or not, but I want to hear from you guys. How does the death of the resume actually look? How will it affect us? Because at the end of the day, we're in-house recruiters or we're agency recruiters. Every application is based on the resume. You can't usually not even use the ATS without the resume. So there are big changes needed. How are we going to do that? You want to take that one first?
Sure. The idea is that everything evolves. I don't think the resume will die, the CV will die. Even job boards were dead 10 years ago. When I joined 9 years ago from HR to job boards, actually I was going into a dying industry according to specialists.
Yes.
So I've heard about this death of CV of job boards for over 10 years now. The idea is that it will evolve. I wouldn't say that CV, resume, profile, you name it as you want. Because the same that say that CV will die will say that LinkedIn will live. LinkedIn, in a form or the other, it's a profile CV in a way that is designed for the same reasons in the majority of the cases, yes? So the develop of the CV, I think it's normal. I think it's very hard to get, especially for specialist positions or niche positions, people without history behind it. Let's be honest, nobody will hire somebody who you don't know the history, because the history sometimes shows experience, sometimes shows that has, for example, somebody who has resilience, I don't know, change, couple jobs, promoted, and stuff like that. Has somebody who has flexibility, like has changed, okay, 3 jobs in the last 2 years. Maybe sometimes some people will say that he's a job hopper. Some will say he's flexible. He jumped from pharma to production to IT. For some people, it's flexibility, yes? How can I prove certain skills that we all put on the slides if I don't look at certain history? I will just take for granted, or somebody generated with AI a new profile, a CV, not even looking at the history, at the experience. I would just take for granted, because I think that this is the most dangerous game. People will generate CV, profile, resume, you call it, with AI.
Yeah.
I generate job description with AI. I use a matching with AI. I've seen also a solution with interviews, qualifying them with AI.
Yep.
So who believes who? Because they are all generated by machines. Like what was the final truth? You'll hire anybody that actually does everything you want? Like how you can check that that person actually knows how to operate a forklift or it's a truck driver? You will just take for granted the information you will find? No. You need some proof of certain history, certain experience in order to go after a CV. And when we implemented something with AI, started several years ago, one of the feedback that we got from recruiters, it's, okay, I like your solution, but I still look at all CVs. Not all the cases, but why are you looking at all CVs? Because there are some profiles that you might not get with AI. Because you look at only at experience, not at the potential of a person. And I will give you my concrete example, and with this will I end. I don't want to talk and talk and talk. Actually, we have a colleague that it's with us, I think, for over 3 years, 4 years on sales. And actually, I looked at the CVs. I also do that because it's you want to be in the game in order to understand how your platform works. And I looked over the CVs, and AI wouldn't have passed that lady who is in our team for over 3 years. Why? She didn't have any experience in our field. She was a salesperson for Nespresso in their stores. And I love the culture in Nespresso. Usually when I enter, I don't drink Nespresso, I actually drink real coffee for 5 years now. But the culture in their stores and the customer service, I think amazing. It's amazing. When from the time you enter, how you get acquainted and how they are servicing you. And I look at the profile, and actually I said, okay, I want to see somebody who will sell HR services, but she was selling coffee yesterday. And she is our colleague for over 3-4 years now, one of our best colleagues actually, but she still brought that Nespresso customer experience, how she talks to the customers, to us as job board HR. But not an AI would have passed her in a short list. None of the AIs would have passed her.
That's maybe the point, right? So what is in the resume is not always predictive for what makes somebody successful in the role, right? And that, I think, is the death of the resume, the classic resume, like the job titles, the companies you've worked, the name of your institution where you have where you've graduated. So it's like, what are the things that we need to look at for the proof? Or somebody will be successful in the role. That will transition away from those aspects to something else. What is that something else?
Resumes don't talk about skills. They just talk about previous work experience, which may or may not equate to having any skill. You can have a job for a long time and be very bad at it. Okay?
Also true.
So the CV doesn't document your ability or your skills. It just tells you did something.
Everybody directly thought about that one person they know in their job that is there for 20 years.
That's why they're laughing.
Very recognizable.
So I mean that's one of the huge problems with CVs. If you were going to hire a consultant, do you ask them for a CV? Anybody ever hire a consultant?
Or interimer, yeah.
Did you ever ask them for their resume? No, you ask them for previous clients they've had. You ask them for success rates they've had. You ask them for what they've actually accomplished. Who have you worked for? What have you done? And that's really what we need to ask candidates. What have you done? What have you accomplished? What can you do? And I think LinkedIn and others are getting there because they're trying to document the skills and abilities that people have rather than just the chronological history of what they've did for a few years. So I think the resume, whatever you want to call it, it's as we've traditionally known it, as this chronological list of where you've been and what you've worked, is pretty much not of great value. What's of value is the skills that people can validate or mention or prove. And this morning I talked about blockchain. And I think to your point about not being able to prove these skills or abilities, if we can really get blockchain to be working for us in recruitment, and as I said today, it is slowly getting there. This is where you can actually document and record and prove that people have a skill or an ability that they say they have, or a credential that they say they have.
Digital profile that you have like this.
It's like if you work for someone and they validate that you did a good job for them, it goes into this secure, unchangeable lockbox.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can access that lockbox. To prove that they actually did something. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's actually a very secure way to guard information. There's no way you can hack it. You can't break it with the passwords, get into it with passwords. It requires a certain key to get into it and permission from the person. But I really encourage you to Google it and try to find out what blockchain is all about with verification of credentials. Because ultimately, I think that's going to become a major way to validate some of these things. But again, we need to look for things that validate what people have accomplished, what they've done, what their specific skills are, as opposed to just where they've worked and what they've done in the past, which may or may not equate to performance, right?
Yeah, I love the consulting.
But I think one other thing is ultimately AI will be able to use predictive analytics to tell you if someone has actually accomplished something or done something in their job. And I think the data that we're going to be able to gather from digital profiles that people have, their various accounts, whether it's LinkedIn or other profiles, AI can construct a profile for someone based on papers they've written, talks they've given, things they've done. So you can, again, construct a CV in real time using AI and using the internet to do that for you. So there's a lot of things that are just going to replace that you as a candidate creating your own CV, which could be completely false, as we all know, as opposed to going out on the internet and picking out information about you, what people have said about you, what people commented on LinkedIn or on Facebook about you and what you did in the past. So there's all kinds of ways you can verify and accumulate useful information about people without seeing a CV. But if you're looking in the traditional manner, then a CV would be a normal way to do that. But I think that's going to slowly morph into a more real-time collection of information about you from the internet and so forth, and be able to more validate your skills and performance.
Yeah, interesting. And what I wanted to say is like the consultant example is really interesting, because if we then hire a consultant for a marketing job, we ask for their projects and how they actually approach the project and whatnot.
Right.
And then 2 months later, we hire for the same position but internally, and then we look at the resume.
Yeah, we see if they have a degree in marketing, and this guy, the consultant, had no degree in marketing, right?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. But if we have a digital fingerprint type of thing, I'm trying to find the words because it's difficult to explain indeed, but let's say you have this digital check of what you have accomplished and what you've actually done. Why do we actually still have an application form to fill out, or why do we actually need to do an application at all? Because you talked about it needs to be as efficient as possible. Yes, I've worked for a client not so long ago in a bank in the UAE, and they said, no, our application process is fine. And I went through their application process. It took me 43 minutes, 9 pages. I kid you not. And of course, I had to create an account. Success factors. So, sounds familiar. And obviously I agree, but you said something like, okay, it has to be fast. It was like, please correct me if I were wrong, you say there is almost an 80% drop-off if there is a apply here button, but the apply here button is not on the job board, but goes to the career site.
Yes.
So that has to be as short as possible. But if you have more this digital footprint, are we not going towards a world where, why do you need to apply? Because Stan is standing there, the people who were in the Scott AI talk, he had an example about the, a bot can reach out and directly have a conversation. Are you available in the weekend? Do you have this driver's license and whatnot? And have that conversation. But then, are we going to a time that you don't apply, you just have conversations with people and directly hire them?
In theory, everything works, because this, I think, is the problem. It's translating this theory in real life. Even this blockchain technology, in order to have some digital clear presence and also history of the CV, is super hard to do in real life. This means that some of us, I don't know, some of the people in the room have 10 jobs. This means when you are creating this, you have to go after your 10 former employers and get their validation for all your 10 previous experience, and somebody there maybe also went to other companies, so you need to find HR people that go into the files in order to confirm that you worked 10 years ago for 2 years for a company. So in reality, transform this simpler method, because I completely agree that you can do it with the digital presence very fast, technology-wise exists, but actually translating into reality takes a lot of time and a lot of people to get used to it. But if you get to a final destination, like every one of us has a certified history through this technology, and we can prove that we are who we are, and we, I don't know, have these skills, because again, skills, who provides actually the validity for your skills? Yeah. Who proves that you are a great salesperson? You have great negotiation skills.
Yeah. Who proves anything on the resume in the first place?
This is the idea, like proving those skills. That's why people are putting in intermediate layers of testing.
Yes, I think because if I say I am great problem solver, I can. It's the job of us as recruiters to also validate or I'm indeed a good problem solver during the application process, right?
It is, because I've heard today that it's not our job as recruiters. It's AI who will do it for us.
Yeah, the function of selecting talent. We don't execute the job. You're absolutely right. Good catch. Yeah. But what do you think about that? How will that the direct conversation between company and potential employee go?
We're assuming that jobs as we know them today are going to continue to exist.
Oh, you just put another layer on top of that.
I don't believe that jobs are going to continue to exist. Yeah. The reason we have application processes is because we've got this old-fashioned 20th century, very straight, very stratified idea of what a job is and what the qualification for that job should be. And we have this application process that sort of document all this stuff. And it's basically of little value, okay? To your point, if the person that you hired that you said was one of your best employees had filled out an application, you wouldn't have hired them. Yeah. Because they didn't have any of the things that you were looking for in that job, okay? So, filling out an application is it's kind of a traditional thing with traditional jobs, but if you're hiring a consultant or a contractor or a gig worker or somebody to solve a problem or fix something that's wrong, all you really should care about is whether they can fix that problem or solve that issue for you. Yeah. So I don't know what the point of filling out the application really is, okay? It's a real quandary, all right? Because we're still sort of stuck in two worlds. We're stuck in the traditional world of, with all these job requirements and all these job descriptions that are, fundamentally, I think, not very relevant or actually accurate, 3 years of experience. Well, 2 years and 9 months, I'm going to reject you. You don't have 3 years. I mean, it's just complete bull, right? But this is what we do, all right? Yeah. And why do we do this? I guess maybe we think this is some way validate something. I'm not sure what. Or I used to think it was get rid of excess people. We only want people to have 3 years, so anybody that doesn't, we can just forget them without worrying about the legal requirements because we say 3 years on the thing. You got 2 years, 11 months, sorry. What if I'm 1 day short, I mean, these things are just become so ridiculous. And I've sat in rooms where we had those conversations, right? Can we make this offer? We said 3 years and they've got 2 years and 9 months. Can we make them an offer legally? This is just ridiculous, all right?
Yeah. We made it up in the first place. It's
you made it up in the first place. It's never been validated for anything around performance. Is somebody with less than 3 years not as good? What if they have 20 years? Is that too much? Where do you draw the line? We don't have any data. We don't have any data to prove anything we ask for in the application. It's just tradition, and I don't think it serves much of any purpose all other than to just filter out people and make it easy to say no to people. That's all. But I don't think it does anything. It doesn't prove that you have any skill. It doesn't prove that you can accomplish anything. It doesn't do anything.
No.
I got your analogy with the consultant, but there is a small catch over there, because you go to that company because you first of all, trust that company to work with that consultant or any freelancer. But somebody already hired and made sure that that consultant is good for senior enough for you to provide those services. So it doesn't come up the streets and enter and it's your first consultant job for you, yeah? Mm-hmm. So somebody else did the job of recruiting that consultant, teaching that consultant a good process for you. I don't know, take any, Big Four, McKinsey or other type of consultant. They were raised by that company and hired by that company and so on. So you are trusting their process of recruiting that. You are not just hiring anybody on the streets without any credentials or any backup by some company.
Yeah, but I don't think the application proves anything.
No. I'm just referring that you do not request a CV or consultant. Yes, you do not request, because this will mean that you do not trust the company that you just hired to do a job if you require a CV from a consultant that you hired. The analogy I don't kind of agree with. I got your idea that behind the back the application process should be different. And in an ideal world, I would say that any of us should have a public profile with the skills extracted by AI or put it by persons or tested and so on. And the jobs that actually can match come to you. This will be the ideal world, to be completely honest with you. Not apply. But now, anybody should get a push notification from an app. This would be the most suitable job for you at this point. This will be the ideal world. Actually, jobs that actually match your skill based on, I don't know, some career path that you are designing for you, or you are asking somebody to design for you, are coming to you. This will be, in my ideal world, the way that we should function. Not apply to jobs, but matching the best suitable positions for you as a candidate based on your career path, based on what you want in life, because maybe there isn't a career path, because young generation don't care about career paths. No. This is another thing that it's, I think, bypassing. Yeah. They care about experiences, having fun, having different experience in different fields. Maybe this is the way that you're creating your profile. I want to test 5 industries in the next 5 years. This is my profile. And you get me 5 jobs in the next 5 years in order to match my current wish in life.
Yeah, I see you thinking, Kevin.
I'm just thinking. Imagine if you asked a hiring manager to tell me what you specifically want this person to do. I don't care about anything. Just what do you want them to do? And how would you understand that they could do what you want them to do? And I've talked to hundreds of hiring managers, and they cannot tell me what they want the person to do. They just want them to work for me. You know, I need an engineer. I need a process engineer. Well, what's he going to do? I don't know. He's going to work. But what's that mean? You know,
process engineer.
It's so vague. It's absolutely. So the application process is, to me, going to that manager and saying, tell me specifically what you want somebody to do. Give me precisely what you expect out of them to do in 90 days, 100 days. You know, what do you want them to do for you? Do you have a problem you want them to solve? Is there a project you want them to contribute to? What do you want them to do? And then what would validate for you that they could actually do that? And then you could go out very specifically and look for that piece of information or ask them for that piece of information instead of having them fill out a 3-page document that's meaningless. So to me, that's the best way to do it. And I know that may sound hard because hiring managers are not going to be able to do that, but that's what they should be able to do. We need to change the paradigm and the way we think. And if they're looking, you know, if you're looking for somebody to paint your house, what do you ask them? You ask for their CV? You know, you ask them, I need this house painted in a certain way. I want certain things met. How can you do that? Tell me about how you would go about doing that. What would you do? Because I can, if I'm, as a homeowner, can specify very clearly what I want done, then I know what to look for in the person that I want to hire. But if I don't really have any idea, can't do it. A question? We have a question?
Yes?
Airtasker is an interesting thing because when you put a job out there, you're very specific. And you mentioned earlier, Kevin, about the whole contingent workforce,
Yeah.
and that work will become much more project-centric. So if you extrapolate what Airtasker does and essentially say, these are the things that I want done, then you can validate when people respond whether they've done those type of things from the previous jobs they've done with people who have given them scores and comments.
Absolutely.
So is that the type of thing
Yeah,
you're talking about?
more or less what I'm saying, yeah. If a hiring manager knows specifically what they want a person to do, we can say, how can you tell me that you can do this? You know, how would you validate it? You have the skill to do this or the history to do this? Have you got references? Have you got some sort of somebody I can call up and talk to? Is there some way I can prove that you've actually done this and accomplished this? And I think in many cases people could do that if they knew specifically what you wanted them to prove. But you've got to be more specific. We're so generic. Everything is so general and so vague that we're looking at vague, unverified data. Everything we're going with is unverified, generic data that somebody supplied. We can say, okay, you worked at this company for 5 or 6 years. Do you take the time to go back and absolutely verify that they actually did that? In every case, for everything they put on the no, you don't. You just assume it's correct. So it's all vague. It's all
the verifiability is the issue, of course. Right?
Yeah, and it's a matter of trust.
But but the blockchain could potentially solve that. I also like what you said, Bogdan, about the candidates. Usually, people, young generation, know in general what they want. Right? They're not looking for a 20-year career. They want to have certain experience, etc. If we are slowly moving towards agents that can actually identify the skills and competencies, behaviors, and everything that we need, they can reach out to people. But I'll talk about the candidate side, right? If I can set a profile on this is what I'm looking for, LinkedIn released a new search tool last week or 2 weeks ago. Because now if you search for a job, you have to guess the job titles. And if you have slightly different job title, the job title doesn't show up, right? Now you can say, I like to do project management in marketing or something like that, ChatGPT prompting type of things. You click enter and it finds jobs and it matches, right? But for me, I'm directly thinking, why do I need to type this in? I only need to type this in once. And then if LinkedIn or the job board knows what I'm looking for, then I can also, every person on the planet can have an agent that knows exactly what job you have and then propose it every morning. You have 10 jobs you can swipe, like Tinder style, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and it does the application. Is that then something we're also going to see? Because then we're actually moving towards a world where all of our company agents are talking to all the human agents. Yeah. There's agent interaction, right? Yeah. Do you think that is something where we're moving towards? Do you see that as possible?
In the specific case, I think it's much useful that the way that things are working right now with, young generation. Because they don't have career advisors. Like, in this part of the world, career advisors are very rare and maybe are expensive, you cannot afford them and so on. So I would guess that talking to somebody like I would love this job and somebody said, okay, good, these are the things you need to learn. Not a career advisor, but also a learning and development agent for that specific individual that can show them things that they need to learn for the next jobs and the next jobs and so on.
Also, even more than just the application, the matching of the job, but also if this is what you want to do, then these are the skills that you need to learn.
Yes, including maybe a test in order to see what your career might look like or what you are best at this point, because people can evolve and so on. I would guess that they would trust more. The young generation, I'm talking about specifically, they would trust more in this type of agents that they would do humans. Because they love to chat. Usually you see that phone calls for the young generation are, okay, well, why are you calling me? Text me. So I would guess they would love this type of approach with texting with an AI agent, learning and development agents, career agents, and so on. I would guess they would love that approach.
But who then eventually holds the power? Will it be a candidate or employer market? Because employers are moving towards to financially optimize the model. So we will probably see a situation where a lot of jobs no longer exist. So that would mean they control the power because there will be more humans. But on the other side, if candidates can exactly say, reach out to me just for this, these are the types of job, etc., then it's the companies that need to reach out to the people and they can just say yes and no. So who will eventually hold the power? Because I think the candidate power will go up through these agents, but the number of people that actually are needed may go down, right? So where are we going in this?
Right now we have an unequal knowledge situation, okay?
Yeah.
The candidate knows very little
Yeah.
about the hiring manager, the company, or the job, or anything else. And the manager knows everything about how much money he's got, what his budget is, how much he can spend, et cetera, right? So if we could level the knowledge barrier, which I think is happening already with AI and with the transparency of information, then then the question is, I'll make an analogy. You're going to go buy a car. Who has the power, you or the salesman?
You would hope me.
Okay. Well, I mean, the salesman and you have sort of equal amounts of power, but you negotiate. It's negotiation, right?
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
So I think ultimately it will become a negotiation, and maybe your AI agent, your bot, will actually be negotiating that. And it will be negotiating that because it has knowledge of the company and what they may have in terms of budget and so forth. It also has knowledge of what you're looking for and what you want, right?
Yeah.
So it can negotiate. It can say, I don't need money, I need more
Freedom,
vacation, or I need whatever, right?
Yeah.
I need flexibility. So the bot could theoretically negotiate for you in that job. But I think right now we have this unequal knowledge distribution between who knows what. And in that case, whoever has the most knowledge is in power.
Yeah.
So as you can reduce that knowledge to being almost the same, then it becomes a very different discussion.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a discussion about negotiation. And we don't negotiate, we make offers. That's not negotiate. The only people who negotiate are senior level people, okay? And even at that level, the negotiation is limited to, bonus or something like that, right?
Yeah.
We don't have real negotiation. But in a real business deal, you have negotiations, right? You discuss it, you go back and forth, you work out the differences, you compromise. So we can do that with employment, and we can certainly do that more easily with an AI bot.
Yeah, yeah. I think you agree on the concept. The first thing that pops in my mind is with the car dealer analogy, there needs to be a balance between supply and demand.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that is the existential crisis we're facing. Will there be balance between supply and demand? Will there be enough jobs for humans, or how are humans going to sustain themselves?
Well, I don't think there will be enough jobs. I've written a lot about that.
Yeah. But how, yes. So what are we going to do?
Well, this is a very philosophical discussion.
Yeah. I will give a consultant answer. Depends.
Depends. Yeah, I can build a presentation for you about it.
Even the answer to the question who holds power. If we have met 3 years ago, and we have asked us, what do you think about programmers? Will programmers be better paid? The need for programmers will increase. All of us will say yes. I don't know, Kevin, maybe it's forward thinking. But I would certainly said, for sure, IT will go off the roof. Everybody should learn programming.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, if you are asking a room full of people, do programmers are still hot, super hot? Everybody says,
Yeah, and how quickly that switched, right?
Exactly.
Because when the rate
content
of AI,
writers, people who write contents, articles, were high demand because they were super creative. None of us could have written very good articles, let's be honest, or very good presentations. Yeah. So you need somebody who can do it, or designers and so on. There are a lot of jobs that 3 years ago were like, never ever will designer or change, lose the job. Never ever. You cannot design. You have to be creative in the zone or something like that. Yeah. But now everybody say, okay, I will go to an LLM and I will request a picture that looks like this and so on. So the answer is nobody knows. But I would guess that people that can be flexible, adaptable, and can learn a lot of stuff and actually be valuable, because I think it's value, productivity and value for the company. Yeah. It will only translate to that no matter your position. The position will go to a garbage. I do not believe that positions will hold any power anymore. But your value that brings to the company, I think it is still will be powerful, and they will have power in getting a new jobs, people who can prove that they can bring actually value to the company, either if it's the cost side, the revenue side, and so on. But on the long run, nobody's safe. Let's be honest. Here we can fully agree, nobody's safe. Right, from CEO, even the CEOs, it is even easier for them actually to get rid of them.
Yeah. I do see we have 3 minutes left. Is there anyone who also wants to ask a question? Now, do we have this here? About any of these topics? Can't imagine you don't have any questions. You can think about it for a moment. You have a question.
Kevin, it's just a question from your first presentation.
Wait a minute, there's a microphone coming. Yeah.
Hi.
Does it work?
I don't know.
No, it's not.
Yeah, turn it on. I think it may not be turned on.
Just
Is it on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, now it is.
No, I just wanted to ask you about gig economy, right? You were talking that this is
Yes.
going to be the trend, but does gig economy really promote employee loyalty, which is obviously important for the company?
I couldn't really hear what you said.
So the gig economy is up and coming, but is that not a problem for employee loyalty, which is important for the company? if I repeat it?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I think the whole concept of employee is going to go away, okay? All right. I think there's to be very few people that are employees in our traditional mindset and way of thinking about employees, okay? Which just goes back to why the CV and the application process and everything else is just more or less an archaic remnant of the 20th century, all right? As we move further into the 21st century, we're going to see all of that stuff slowly disappear or go away or morph into something very different than it is now. But we're all going to ultimately be gig workers, I mean, ultimately, to one way or another, okay? I think that the idea of having contract work, consultant work, project work is going to become much more the norm. And, you know, why would you want the same job for 20 years, you know? I mean, you know, I think young people already realize that. They say, I don't want to do this thing for 20 or 30 years. I don't my whole life. I want other things to do. I want other careers. I want other experiences to do, right? So I'm happy to take a 2-year experience to do this and maybe continue to learn something else at the same time. And that's why they're asking. They don't know how to articulate it, but what these young people are saying is, I want to be able to continue to learn and develop new skills while I'm doing this thing for you here, okay? That's why they're kind of maybe sometimes, and this is why a lot of remote work is questionable by traditional employers, is they're doing something else while they're working for you. Or in case we've had in America cases where they had 3 jobs getting 3 salaries. And they said, I can do 3 jobs at the same time, and otherwise I'd be sitting in an office, wasting my time in a traditional role when I can do 3 of these at the same time and get 3 salaries by staying at home.
Yeah, I think how you say that, the loyalty switches to the quality of the work, because if I'm a gig worker, I need to ensure that the quality is good because it's references again for next work. So the question I directly in my mind, like, does it really matter?
I think maybe the big question is, why do you want loyalty? Historically, you wanted loyalty because your skill set was going to be valid for your whole career.
Yeah, that's true.
And I wanted you to stay in my company that whole career because you'd get more and more experience and knowledge in our company, and therefore you'd be more valuable. So loyalty was highly prized because that skill was a consistently needed skill for a long period of time. That's no longer true. As we said, we don't need a programmer for very long, because pretty soon ChatGPT will write the code for it. It already is writing.
Yeah, it is.
We don't need those things. So loyalty is it's a misplaced thing. You don't need it. What's the point of it? In fact, I don't want loyalty because I don't want somebody to think they're going to hang around here for 20 years.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I don't want them for 20 years.
It's a good point. Yeah. And we are almost at time. So I want to ask you both, if everybody's leaving here, they forget everything, what is the one thing that you hope they actually take with them? Right? So what is the one thing everybody should bring home and tell another person that they've learned today? Can I ask you both one of those things? Who wants to go first? You want to go first, Bogdan?
Sure.
Yeah.
After this apocalyptic day, I just want to assure everybody in the room, you still have a job by Monday.
Good one. Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Well, I'll just say you may not have one on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right? I'll leave it at that. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. You may not have one on Tuesday, you will have one on Monday. I think that's a good closure. Thank you very much, all. Applause to these guys.
Thank you.
Yes. You can go.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's been lovely to have you.